My dear friends, my name is Jacob Fiveash, and welcome to Uncaged Zootours. If you are new to the channel and love animals, I recommend and appreciate you hitting the like, subscribe, and bell icons to join me on my tours. I have a treat for you today. We're heading back to the world-famous San Diego Zoo. Our last tour was the iconic Elephant Odyssey, an exhibit that compares modern-day animals to their extinct relatives. Now, we'll be heading to one of the greatest children's zoos around, Wildlife Explorers Basecamp. This exhibit opened in 2022 and has tons of animals from insects to mammals. In this two-part adventure, we'll meet many new animals that I haven't talked about yet, meet some that I haven't talked about in a while, meet some of the zoo's ambassador animals, and even see the zoo's Wildlife Wonders show. Let's begin. Wildlife Explorers Basecamp is located to the left of the reptile house, which is ironic because our first animal we'll see is the world's largest living lizard, the Komodo dragon. The Komodo dragon's scales have tiny bones called osteoderms and act like a suit of armor. The bony scales help defend the lizard against predators or other lizards. Like a shark, a Komodo dragon's teeth are replaced each year. A Komodo dragon may lose and regrow 200 teeth a year. A female Komodo dragon may lay up to 30 eggs at a time and will guard them for 8 months. When the hatchlings are born, they're on their own and live in the trees until they're big enough to outrun the adult Komodo dragons that might eat them. In other words, Komodo dragons are cannibals, which means they eat their own kind. Next up is the hummingbird habitat, home to a bunch of tiny hummingbirds. There are over 360 different kinds of hummingbirds, making them the second largest family of birds behind tyrant flycatchers. Hummingbirds have longer hand bones compared to other birds, allowing them to move their wings in a figure 8. They also have the fastest metabolism of any animal, which means they have to drink nectar every 15 minutes. Using their long forked tongue, hummingbirds can lap up nectar 18 times a second. They also drink nectar 50 to 60 times a day. But the hummingbirds live with a wattled jacana, who is a lot slower than their roommates. While they move similarly to most birds, compared to hummingbirds, jacanas live in the slow lane. They use their long toes to walk on water plants and can dive underwater to escape predators. Now it's time to introduce you to the Wildlife Wonders show. This show talks about the San Diego Zoo and the San Diego Zoo Safari Park's conservation efforts around the world, while also showcasing some of their ambassador animals, like these scarlet macaws, one of my favorite birds. There are 350 species of parrots around the world, and 70 of them live in the Amazon rainforest. As rainforests are being burned or cut down, the zoo uses the macaws to remind people of the importance of their work in rainforests around the world. Besides, so much stuff like chocolate, vanilla, and medicine comes from a rainforest. There's Elvis, a golden retriever. He represents trained dogs that the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance uses to track down orca and koala feces, elephant tusks, and rhino horns. Next is Shadow, a gray wolf. He represents a keystone species, a plant or animal that plays a big role in maintaining a habitat. Gray wolves are known to work together as a pack to take down prey, which helps keep their habitat in check. Finally, there is a very active Linnaeus's two-toed sloth. Compared to a hummingbird or cheetah, a sloth can move at less than 1/10 of a mile per hour, making them the world's slowest mammal. On average, a sloth may travel 123 feet a day, which is as long as a football field. They may also sleep for 8 to 10 hours. If you want to see the Wildlife Wonders show, don't forget to stop by at 2 o'clock p.m. Now it's time to visit Spineless Marvels. This section is home to a bunch of arthropods like this ob-winged katydid. This insect isn't sick. Sometimes, katydids can be pink, and that's fine. Arthropods like this lubber grasshopper have a hard exoskeleton. In other words, their skeleton is located on the outside of their body. Arthropods molt their exoskeleton like how a snake sheds its skin. But these critters come in all shapes and sizes. The dead leaf mantis looks like a dead leaf and can sway in the wind. Malaysian bush crickets can smell with their feet, and giant African millipedes can have up to 400 legs. Other arthropods can use defense, like these taxicab beetles, who are black and yellow to scare predators away, while the white-eyed assassin bug spots warn predators of its venomous bite. Madagascar hissing cockroaches make a hissing sound like a snake, while others like the touch-me-not insect prefer to use camouflage. But one of the strongest insects is the rhinocerosbeetle. These beetles are harmless, but can lift up to 850 times their weight, and they can use their strength to fight off other males or dig. But one of the most misunderstood insects in this section is the western honeybee. Although people can be afraid of bee stings, bees only sting when threatened. Besides, a bee dies when it stings someone. Only the female bees have stingers, while the males don't. The worker bees have barbed stingers, but the queen stinger is smooth and can be used multiple times. Speaking of the queen, she is the largest bee in the colony and can produce up to 3,000 eggs a day. While worker bees only live for a few weeks, the queen may live for 2 to 5 years. When a queen bee dies, the worker bees will prepare new queen eggs. Once the would-be queens hatch, they will fight to the death with their smooth stingers. The strongest queen bee will win and will command her new subjects with pheromone chemical scents. Following the bees is a butterfly aviary filled with blue morpho butterflies. There are 20,000 butterfly species, and butterflies are found on every continent except Antarctica. Butterflies have taste buds on their feet and drink from flowers using a long tongue called a proboscis. At first glance, a butterfly may have 2 wings, but it actually has 4. A butterfly's eyes look like kaleidoscopes. They can't see in detail, but are great at seeing color, shapes, and movement. Butterflies can also see ultraviolet light. The next 3 exhibits rotate ambassador animals. I saw a red panda, but you might also see a cat that I haven't talked about in a while. Say hello to the caracal. The word caracal comes from a Turkish word that means black-eared. An adult caracal can run as fast as a young cheetah, which is up to 15 miles per hour. But caracals are great at jumping. Thanks to their strong hind legs, caracals can jump up to 8 to 11 feet in the air to catch a guinea fowl in flight. That's almost as high as a basketball hoop. Caracals can also eat rodents, hyraxes, and even small antelopes. I also got to see one of my favorite animals, the binturong. Binturongs are also called bear cats, even though they are related to chinids, fusas, and mongooses. They have a prehensile tail like a monkey or a seahorse, and they get their popcorn smell from their urine. which contains a compound that gives buttered popcorn the same smell. That popcorn smell lets other binturongs know they're on someone else's territory. The smell is made from a gland in their prehensile tail. Binturongs also take a bath by licking themselves all over. Our final stop in part 1 is Cool Critters, home to a bunch of reptiles, like a prehensile-tailed skink, Mexican black snake, pygmy-tailed skink, Walma python, Madagascar ground boa, Fiji island boa, and an Angolan python. Unlike humans, reptiles shed their skin all at once and are cold-blooded, which means their temperature changes depending on the environment. Besides, reptiles like to lie back in the sun or under a heat lamp to warm up if it gets too cold. But I also got to see another ambassador animal, another Madagascar hissing cockroach. And that officially wraps up part 1 of the Wildlife Explorers Basecamp. Stay tuned for part 2. We'll see another active sloth, squirrel monkeys, a coati, prairie dogs, a wild blue heron, a Chinese giant salamander, an axolotl, leafcutter ants, and spiders. Today's question is, what was your favorite animal fact you learned on this tour? Or if you have a cool animal fact you would love to share with me, I would love to hear it. Thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you next time. You're smart, creative, and kind.